class 2 and class 3. Three classes are there. This is class C1 or some parent class which has a child class C2, child class C3. Okay, now the properties of C1 will come to C2, but properties of this is called, this is called single level inheritance. Only one level the properties will come. Multiple inheritance. Okay, multiple inheritance means I can tell you like this. Okay, the real-time example on this. You say that one tomato plant is there. The tomato plant has good size.
Yes,
There is one kind of tomato size, but color is not very much good, but taste also not very much good. Second kind of, but size is very small, very good taste. What you can do, you can take all these three properties and you can create a class. Okay, so that the class has very good properties. So this is something like a hybrid kind of thing.
yes,
Okay, so this is what this is called. This is called multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance is not possible in ABAP. This kind of inheritance is not possible in ABAP. Maybe this inheritance is possible in Java and other kind of languages, but in ABAP it's not possible.
okay, sir.
Next one is multi-level inheritance. Multi-level inheritance means
Father
it's
does.
something like opposite to the single inheritance. Say for example, my grandfather properties will also come to me.
Okay, sir.
So that is called multi-level inheritance. So multi-level inheritance and multiple inheritance, these both are not. Single inheritance is possible in ABAP. Only single is possible. Remaining types of inheritance is not possible. Now the next concept is the polymorphism. What is this polymorphism? Poly means
Multi.
many.
Many.
Yeah, multi, correct. Yes. Morphism means
Changes.
behavior. Okay, fine. So yeah, are changes. Say for example, if I am there in class, I'll behave something like some way. If I am along with my friends, I'll behave something like some other way.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will change my behavior based on my location.
Location.
Everybody will do that. If
Yeah.
you are there in your office, you may behave something differently. If you are there with your parents, you may behave something differently. Okay, but you are the same, but you are behaving differently based on the situations.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now let us see in a theoretical way. For example, there is a class. Assume that class name is C1. Okay, so I am saying class. What is this class? Class means
Class.
class means a user defined data type. We have different data types, correct?
Yes, sir.
What are the data types? Character, numeric, integer, and
String.
predefined. Those are the predefined data types. And user defined data types are stable
Yes.
types. These are the user defined data types, correct?
Yes.
And data type. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So now, assume this is a class. This class has some methods. Method M1, method M2, method M3. Something like that. This class has a methods. What is a method? Method is nothing but, assume that for the time being, assume that method is something like a function module. Method will have a piece of code to execute, just like your function module. function module will also have some piece of code, correct?
Yes, sir.
Just like that, your method also has a piece of code to execute. Function module has a import and export parameters, correct?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, methods also has import and export parameters. All the methods will be there in a class. Got it? All the function modules will be there in a function group. Just like that, all the there inside the class. Now, assume that same method name will be there inside the same class. Can I have same method, that means M1, repeatedly 2 times in the class?
So
If
then,
somebody knows C++, they can answer. If somebody knows, otherwise not a problem, I will tell you. I have a class. In the class, I have two methods. Can I have same name for the two methods?
maybe it will
When
not
you
take, sir.
speak about the other languages, yes, you can have. Okay, but when you speak about the above, in above this is not allowed.
Yes, sir.
If you have a class C1, you cannot have the same name of the
Yes.
methods. Okay, so method parameters are there, correct? Method parameters. Those parameters are called signature of the method.
Okay, sir.
Say for example, a function module has a two importing parameter and one exporting parameter. So those are called the signature of the function module. A method has two importing parameters and one exporting parameter. Then that is called the signature of the method. Okay. Say for example, this method M1 has a two parameters, one import and one export. So those two parameters are, first one is integer, second one is character. Assume that this method M1 has a two parameters, one is importing and so first one is of integer, second one is of character. Same method M1 you can declare once again with a different signature, that means a different import and export parameters. Okay, so say for example, I'll declare first one is now character, second one also character, and third one also character. I'll declare one more method with the same name with a different signature. Signature means what? Just like import and export parameter. As of now, you can remember this is called method signature. Signature means import parameters of the method. Assume. Now what I can say is, in other languages, in the class, same method name can exist with a different signature. Okay. So when you are calling this function module or when you are calling this method, what you will do? You will give one integer and one character, then the code inside this one will be executed. When you are calling the method, if you give three characters, the code inside this method will be executed automatically.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is something like you are calling the same method, but based on the signature of the method, it behaves differently. The cursor will go into the different locations.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so this is called method overloading. This concept, so whatever the concept we thought now, we discussed now, this is called method overloading. In your interviews, they will question you, what is the method overloading? Method overloading means inside the class there can be two methods with the same name with different signatures. So this is called method overloading. Okay, so now The next concept is method overwriting. Method overwriting. Okay. So what is the method overriding? Method overriding means there is a class C1. In the class C1, M1 is the method. There is another class C2 which can have also method M1. Here classes are different. So this is called method overriding. Overriding means same method can exist, same method with the same signature can exist in different classes. This is called method overriding.
Okay.
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 So now whenever somebody asks you what is a polymorphism, polymorphism means behaving differently in different situations. So in polymorphism there are two concepts are available, method overloading and method overwriting. Method overloading means in the same class
Same name.
two methods with the same name will be there with a different signature.
Okay.
That is method overloading, which is not possible in ABAP.
Okay.
Method overwriting means in different classes we can have the same method name with the same signature.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the concepts in polymorphism. Okay, now the next one is abstraction. What is the
Sure.
abstraction? What is the general meaning of abstraction?
Abstraction means.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, you told method overloading is not possible in ABAP. Method overwriting is possible, sir.
Yeah. Method overriding is possible.
Okay.
Okay. Now the next
Okay.
concept is abstraction. What is this abstraction? Abstraction means sometimes what will happen? We will create a class, we will create a method which describes the basic functionality. For example, car means what is a car should have an engine, car should run. That means the basic functionality of the car is to take you from one place to another place.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now there are different cars are there. There is a Maruti. In the Maruti, if you take the Maruti 800 is there, Maruti Jen is there, Wagner is there, and so on and so forth. There are different cars are available. In different cars, in different engines will be there.
Yes, sir.
But the car basic functionality is to have a engine.
Yeah.
Assume. But in based on the model, it has a different engines.
Yes, sir. Features will be.
That is having an engine. Similarly, it should take you from one place to another place. So maybe Maruti 800, if you go with the less speed, maybe Maruti Wagner or some good car, you can go with the higher speeds.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how it differs. For example, another example I will tell you. When you write a competitive exams,
Yes, sir.
have you ever written the competitive exams like RRB, Railway Recruitment Board or something like that? Have you filled the OMR sheet
Yes, sir.
with the pencil? You need to
Yes, sir.
mark the boxes. Correct? Have you ever done that?
Yes, sir.
OMR sheet.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the thing is, assume that exam for 100 members, OMR sheet is common. That is the basic template. OMR sheet, the same sheet they will give.
Yes, sir.
But you will mark your name, another person will mark his name, somebody else will mark his name, correct? But
Yes.
they will distribute the same sheet to everyone.
Yes,
That is
sir.
the basic functionality.
Yes, sir.
So that is called the abstraction. A basic functionality will be there. However you want, you implement the class.
Okay.
The base will be there. After that, whatever you want, you can build on it.
Okay, sir.
Okay?
Okay.
And so now encapsulation. Encapsulation means what? Encapsulation means, have you ever taken a capsule
Yes,
when
sir.
you are getting fever or cold? We will generally take the capsule, correct?
Yes, sir.
A capsule has some medicine. Inside inside the capsule there is a medicine.
Yes.
But the medicine is covered with the capsule.
Cover.
When you take the capsule, what is the result? Your fever will go. Like otherwise your cold will reduce. These are
Yes.
the results. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Inside the capsule, what medicine is there, you will never come to know. You don't know. You will not bother about inside the capsule what medicine is there, what is it. You will never bother. That
Yes.
is something like we don't know about that, and we don't want to learn
No.
about that.
Yes, sir.
But we will take that. It will reduce your
It's
fever
just.
or you will reduce your sickness. Encapsulation means also something like that. I will create something. The process of that,
Will give the result.
it's not. It's least bothered. I don't want to. I don't want to bother about the process. But finally, I want the result.
Yes.
For example, I went to a pizza corner. Pizza corner. I ordered a pizza. Inside the kitchen, I don't know what they are doing. But finally, pizza will come to me.
Yes.
Okay. So that means the process which is hidden is called encapsulation.
Okay.
Okay. So this is something like final result we want, but we don't want the process. What was going inside, hiding the process. We are trying to hide the unwanted details by using an object.
Okay, sir.
Okay. But this encapsulation only concentrates on the functionality. But the functionality will never show to you how they are making the pizza or how they are making the medicine inside and put it. You will never come to know that.
No. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now the so these are the details about this inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, and encapsulation.
Basic things.
Now advantages of OOPS. What are the advantages of OOPS? Object oriented programming. So the thing is here, first advantage is flexibility is there, much flexibility. And several classes are SAP has so many classes in it. You can use the same classes. And third one is there was no predefined objects. I will tell you what is this object later. As of now you don't know what is an object. So I will tell you what is an object. So these are the advantages of OOPS. That means object oriented programming. Now let us come to the definition slowly. So what is a class? Class means what I
Such a
told you. Class is user
user
defined data
data
type.
type.
User defined data type. Okay, please make a note. Class is a user defined data type which has member data and member functions. Data and member functions. So member data means member data will provide the properties of the class, whereas member functions will provide the behavior, how you are implementing this. There is a member functions. So member data means the properties of the class. Member functions means the behavior of the class or implementation of the class. So next one is components of the class. What are the different components available in the class? What are the different components of the function module? Import
But export,
parameters, export
export,
parameters,
changing,
exceptions.
changing.
Okay, yeah, changing exceptions, tables, these are all the different components of the
So,
function module. Like, what are the components of the class? Class has attributes, methods, events, so method, events, these are all called components of the class. Next, there is something called visibility. The next concept is visibility. What is this visibility? There are three kinds of visibilities are there:
right.
public, protected, and private. That means what I can tell you is all the components of the class. See, there are three kinds of components are there. So all the components of the class can be declared either public or protected or private. Say for example, I have a method. A method I can declare it as a public method or protected method or private method. So now what is the advantage or what is the disadvantage? What is the behavior when you declare a method or attribute or event as a public? When you declare some method or event or something as a public, the data will be available within the class and outside the class.
Okay, sir.
For example, inside the function module you are there, you have written a variable public. You have declared a variable as a public, importing parameter as a public. You can access that parameter or that variable inside the function module and outside the function module. Assume. So I am giving the example. That is not possible in a function module, but to understand you in a more better way, I am giving the example. So that is called public. Public means it is, if you declare a method as a public, that is accessible. That method is accessible within the class and outside the class also. So this is something like a global data, globally accessible.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So if you inherit this class from another class, there also this method is available. Another class is also accessible, is also derived another class, then that is also accessible. Like it is accessible everywhere, outside the class and inside the class also. That is public. If you declare a method as a public, that is accessible inside and outside. And what is the protected? If the class is declared as a protected, this is accessible inside the class and its child class. Child class means inherited class. I have a class C1. Class C1 has a child class C2. In C1 I have declared a method as protected. In C2 also I can see the class. But if I go outside the C1 and C2, I cannot see the class, the method, which is declared as a protected. You can make a note. Protected methods or protected attributes or events, these are accessible only within the class and in the child classes.
Okay, sir.
But it cannot be accessible outside the class. next one is a private. If you declare a method as a private method, if you declare this as a private method, so what I can tell you, private method will only within the class. If you go outside, it will not be accessible. It will not be accessible for its child class also. It's completely private. So child class also won't know these properties, and outside the class also you cannot access this data. Only within the class this can be accessible. So clear what is the public, what is the protected, what is the private? Public means accessible everywhere. Protected means accessible in the class and in the child class. Private means only in the class. Outside the class it is not accessible. The next concept is instantiation. So instantiation, what I can tell you, there are two types of instantiations are there. First one is instance. Second one is static. There are two types of instantiations are there. First one is instance and second one is static. Okay, so what is this instantiation? These attributes, methods, events, that means the components of the class, can be given with some instantiation. Okay, just like these are attributes, methods, events, these are also given with the visibility. And now leave the visibility. We have already discussed about the visibility. Now we are discussing about the instantiation. The components of the class will be given with the instantiation. For example, if I declare a variable, variable is nothing but attribute. Okay, if I declare an attribute with instance, then what will happen? A separate copy will be maintained for its object. Now what is this object? Object, I'm going to show you the object. Every class can have an object. Say for example, I have created a class. To create a class, you need to go to the transaction SE24. SE24 is the transaction to create a class.
Okay, sir. It's a class builder, sir.
Okay? Yeah, this is class builder SE24.
Okay.
Just like SE37 is a transaction to create the function module. Okay, so here make a note. Instance means if you declare the class component in instance, a separate copy of the value will be maintained for each object. I will show you the practical example for this, but not right now. Maybe when I am doing this coding part, I will show you. Static means it's a static. Like if you change the value, the original value will be affected. This is something like call by value and call by reference. You remember the call by value and call by reference?
In subroutines.
Yeah, something like that. Instance means separate copies will be there. Static means
Same.
if you change the value, the original value will get affected. We'll see this example. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Next. You can also say static data is always class specific. Static data is always class specific. So with this, okay, so some theoretical part we have completed. So now the next concept is there are two methods were there. constructor and destructor. We will discuss this constructor and destructor later, but I just want to show you how to create a class. Go to SU24. And one more thing, remember, not SU, sorry,
Yes,
this
yes.
is SE24. And remember one more thing, what it is. Mm, when you create a class in SE24, then that is called a global class. When you create a class in the program, that is called a local class. You can create a structure in SE11 as well as you can create the structure in
Editor also.
program also, correct?
Yes.
SE38. In the same way, you can create a class in SE24 and you can also create a same class in the SE38 also. Okay,
Yes.
but if you create a class in SE24 transaction, that is called global. That class will be used in all the programs. You can use the class in all the programs. Whereas if you create a class inside the program, that class is specific to that particular program. Okay, so now I'll go and I'll say SE24. So here give the class name. Class name should start with a Z, and SAP will suggest you to have this naming convention always whenever you are creating a class. Create with ZCL underscore. You can also create ZXYZ. This is also you can create, but SAP will suggest you better give CL ZCL underscore and after that whatever you want. So I will say ZCL underscore test. Okay, so now I have created, I have given a name. Click on create. Okay, so this I will say test class. Give some description. There is a final checkbox here. Remove this final checkbox, uncheck and save it. Save it as a local object. So now what and all we have discussed. Class have attributes. See, there is an attribute screen here. These are the components of the class: attributes, methods and events. So just now we have discussed this, correct? These are all the events of the class: attributes, methods and events. Now what I will say, I will declare some attributes. Attributes are nothing but variables of the class. I will say v1 level. What is this level?
So just now we have seen C1, C2 means
Level means instantiation, whether it is an instance or static. I will declare this is the instance.
okay.
And visibility,
Public, private.
I will declare it as a public. Instance public. v2 instance protected. Okay, v3 instance private. I'll declare another variable v4
Static,
static
public.
public. v5 static protected. Attribute type, and here always you need to give some type here, associated type. So maybe I'll give char 3, some 3 characters or generic types, I don't know. Yeah. That means I'm saying 3 characters. All
Yes.
are having 3 characters. And I will also declare one more variable, static
Private.
private. And like this. So here there is some initial value is there. I will put some value in this. I'll put 10 here, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I'll put values, initial values. This is nothing but initializing your variables.
Okay.
In the program you will do initializing of the variable, correct? Initially you
Yes.
will put some value. Just like that. In the class attributes, I have given some initial values. Now I'll activate the class. Save it, check it and activate your class. Okay, now your class got activated. Once your class got activated, go to SE38. I'll say, oops. Okay, so now what you need to do, you need to create an object to get the data from the class. How to create an object? To create an object, the syntax is data, give some name xyz abc, or because this is object I will give obj, any name you can give, obj, type ref to the class name. So now the syntax means we have created an object for this class. We have declared an object, not created. We have declared an object for this class. So this is the first step. Second step is create the object. So the syntax is create object, whatever you have given here. What is the object name? Obj. Maybe if you give here xyz, whatever you give here, copy this and paste it. Create object obj. That means your object will be created. Okay. Now by using the object you can access the class data. Say for example I will say write obj object
Hyphen.
arrow. We will use the arrow symbol and v1. Obj v1 means this obj is for which class?
That's
ZCL test. In ZCL test there is an attribute v1. v1 has how much the value?
10.
10. So it needs to print 10 now. Save it, check it and activate. and execute. So 10 was printing, correct?
Yes.
So 10 is there in your. If I say V2, save it, check it, what will happen?
20 have to create it. 20 has
20
to
should
be
be output, but V2 is
protected.
public, protected is actually SU24 as long as you are inside the class, that
Yes.
is SU24, but now we are in SE38, this is outside the class.
Yes, sir.
So let me check this. So our program does not know what is V2 because
Yes.
V2 is
Not defined.
protected.
Yes, sir.
So we don't know. That means SE38, in SE38 it does not give. What is this V3? What is the result?
V3 is the private one.
V3 is a private. Here also it will say I don't know what is V3. What is V4?
Static public.
Static public. So static public. Anyway, this is public. Public means accessible outside the class. So now syntactically correct. Activate and execute. 40 is coming up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now V5.
Fill it. Static private protected.
So it is because protected. It is saying I don't know what is V5. V6. What will
Static.
happen? Obviously,
That one also not come.
because it is a private, program will say I don't know what is that. Okay, so got it. Public, protected, and private. What is within the class? What is outside the class?
Yes.
Within the class means as long as for the time being you assume that as long as you are in SE24 transaction, that is within the class. When you are coming to SE38, that is outside the class.
Okay, sir.
Next one. Next one. I can also call something like this. See what I will do. I don't create an object. I don't want to create an object. I will say ZCL underscore test double arrow V4. Save it.
Now it will work.
Check it. Activate and execute. So now you are getting 40.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Can I call V1 like this? ZCL test V1. Check it. What it was saying?
So you can only use double arrow for static attributes only.
Choose class double arrow attribute with static attributes.
Okay, sir.
So what I have given? I have not created an object. I have given directly the class name double arrow static attribute. If I give, it will give me the result. It will say syntactically correct.
Sir. So,
It will give the result. When it will give? If it is a static attribute. If it is a instance attribute, you cannot call instance attribute like this.
okay, sir. Sir, what about V5?
Okay, so if you, yeah, what
V5
about
and V6?
V5 and V6? Yeah,
Uh,
V5 and V6 are static only, but they are
Private and
protected. So it will say I don't know what is a V5.
Okay, sir.
If you call like this, okay, this is static. You can call like this, but because this is protected, it will not. It will say I don't know what is V5.
What is that face? Okay, sir.
Okay, so now if you want to create an instance object, what you need to do? You need to create an object and call via object.
Okay, sir.
Obj single arrow v1. This is only way to call the instance attributes
Okay, sir.
or instance components. If you want to call, you need to create an object. For static attributes or static components, no need to create an object.
Okay.
This is very important point. Please make a note. If you want to call instance components, object is required. If you want to call static components, object is not required. You can call via class double arrow the corresponding component.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So now by this time you might have known what is the object of the class, how to declare the object of the class. This is how you will declare the object of the class,
Okay, sir.
and this is how you will create the object of the class. Once you create the object of the class, you will use the object to call the values, to access the values which are there inside the class.
Yes.
Okay. So I will stop here.
Okay, sir.
So just this is very basic program, very basic program. Declaration, creation and calling. So try to create a class and try to go through the basic concepts.
Okay, sir.
We will continue it in the next class.
On Wednesday, sir.
Yeah, on Wednesday we will continue. Okay,
Sir. Okay, sir.
fine. See you. Bye.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine.
Yes, sir.
In